Hey everybody, Kraken XR here, and welcome to another episode of Mercenary Thoughts from the Innersphere. And today we're delving into another clan mech. It's a second line mech, the Kraken, aka the Bane. Just depends on what side of the aisle you're talking. This is a very interesting 100-ton mech that can dish it out at really long range or just inundate you with lots of firepower. That's all I got to say about this thing. It's pretty good in most cases. Alright, let's just delve into this. Alright, so we got a 100-ton mech. I'm just going to call it the Kraken. I'm talking from the Innersphere side of the aisle. Even though it's a Bane, I'm going to call it the Kraken. That's because that's what it was when I first started playing with it. Alright, it's a 3.5. Doesn't have jump jets, but at 100 tons, that's a lot of tonnage just to throw into something that can jump 3. I can understand if you want one. I understand it myself, but it doesn't have them. Has 10 double heat sinks, so it can dissipate 20, which isn't a big deal because it doesn't really put out a lot of heat in the long run. Has 304 points of armor, which is just half ton short, so like 3 points. Yeah. Okay, I can live without that half a ton right there. If you got over 300, you're good. 2 thumbs up. Now, here's the interesting part of this thing. You got the AC2 Ultras in each arm. Not 1, but 5 AC2 Ultras in each arm, backed up by 2 tons of ammo. With case, obviously, because it's clan, in the left torso. And then you have 5 AC2 Ultras in the right arm with a 2 tons of ammo in the right torso with case. Alright, that's good. Then it has 4 machine guns. That's basically a ton with a half ton of ammo, and obviously it still has the case there in the right torso. For something, heck, if you get any infantry close to this thing, it's going to get hosed. Nice thing about this, AC2 Ultras, they're going to go way out there and reach out and touch somebody and give them a bad day. That's all I have to say about that, is because when you got something that just shoots as far as this thing does, if you have a VTOL or anything out there, this thing's going to pump you full of little plinker shots. And that's basically what this version is. It's a big, giant, heavy anti-aircraft gun platform that's going to go out there and just start hammering away. And, if you got a vehicle out there, it's going to, hello. Got to give you a little bit of interesting time to begin with. And we're going to go just keep going at it and at it and at it. That's the nice thing about this mech. It does a really good job at extreme ranges. And that's pretty much how I used it. I played with some other versions of it. There's one version I really, really like. And we'll delve into that in a second. But, this one here, I always like to park it on a hilltop someplace. And just put that really long range firepower to good use. Yeah, with the Ultras, you're pumping out... if you're not moving anywhere, you're using up your full 20 heat sinks right there. And the only time this mech ever going to heat up is if you fire everything and you walk. Okay, then you go up 1. And if you run, you go up 2. And pretty much this mech doesn't really need to move eventually because it's going to be sitting there with its weapon system just firing out at extreme ranges. That's the nice thing about this thing. And when you look at an AC2 Ultra, you're shooting out there at range 27. It's basically the same range as a ER large for the clan. So, yeah, it's doing a good job. And it's like having a long-range machine gun just going to town on somebody. Yeah, pretty much you're looking at 50, if you hit with all 10 guns, the odds are you're going to have probably 12 to 14 2-point shots, somewhere in that range. because not all of them are going to be, you got to roll, you hit, then you got to roll an 8. That's the thing I don't like about ultra cannons. And in some ways, yeah, that's just the nature of the beast. But when you're sitting out there at long range and you're just hitting somebody, it's like, all right, there's no vehicles to hit motive hits, because this is a great weapon system just to, you say you see a demolisher out there that's kind of trudging along, and it's like, oh, wheel around, unload on it with this guy with a good pilot in it, with a good gunnery, and you just start hitting them at extreme ranges with this thing without any retaliation. You're probably going to be doing a lot of motive. You won't kill them for a long period of time, but you'll just turn them into a pillbox where they can't move. You just motive hit them to death. And that's the nice thing about this. It's the same way when you're looking at, oh, a VTOL's up in the air, swing these guns around, unload on them, and eventually you're probably going to knock out the rotors and you're going to send it to the turf. And that's where it shines really good in that way. It's good for killing vehicles or just motive them to death. That's the nice thing about the Kraken. And when you're looking at what if you battle value tossed to this thing, oh, let's see, it's like 2,500 somewhere in there, I think it is. That's that you're getting into fairly high for something that's just an anti-aircraft platform. But there's other versions that will really make you kind of a happy camper. Let's just put it that way. And that was probably the same. I think it's the 3. Yeah, I think that, yep, that's the 3. Now, like I said, the best way to work with this thing is park it someplace, don't move it, so you don't have to worry about heat, and just keep going until the ammo bays are completely dry. That's the one thing you want to do with this mech. Now, the another version that just go into here, we got version 2 of the Bane, as they call it here. Now this one's not too bad. This version is effective at both at medium short range. It trades out the AC2 Ultras for 4 AC5 or AC10s. In addition, for spitting out twice the amount of damage as original, the 14 tons of ammunition allows the Bane 2 to stay in the fight for a long period of time. Now, I've used this one too. You're basically just turning around and taking, removing one of the autocannons and shoving all that tonnage into, or remove 3 AC2s and put them into 2 AC10s. And with Clan, yeah, you're doing a good job of pumping out plenty of shots. You're looking at 7 tons of ammunition. That's 70 shots. Divide that by 4, basically. Yeah, you're staying in the fight for a long period of time. So you're looking at 12, 13 turns, something like that. Hey, that's pretty good. That's a lot of time to be, just hammering away. That's probably more than 13, 15, 16. I don't know. It's more than enough for any type of battle where you're just going to be plugging away. And somebody getting hit, if you do connect with all 4 autocannons and all 4 of them do hit, and then you double pump them all, that's, hey, that's a lot of damage that you're pumping out there. That's up to 80 points of damage. And let me tell you, you get hit with that, you're going to know it. You get hit 2 turns in a row, you're going to be looking as like, where is that thing coming from? Let's just kill it. And that's, the big, you're going to be attracting a lot of attention. But being a 100-tonner, they will take a while to take you down. Now, the big thing is trying to knock off the 2 arms. If you hit the 2 arms and take those out in pretty short order, it's really easy. I guess it's not really easy. It's fairly easy to do it as a clan on clan. In that case, you know, you're talking ERPPCs, lots of Gauss rifles, and all that fun stuff where they got tons of weapon systems to throw down range and hit you. And it's not going to take long to scrape a 100-tonner and remove most of its armor and start removing weapons. That is the problem. But if you can sit there effectively at range, just hammer away on somebody, let me tell you, they're going to be hurting. They'll hurt a lot. You do that, it's like a couple turns out. That was one game where I got hit with some AC-20 Ultras, and they double pumped. You know, they had two AC-20 Ultras and put all of them into me. And it's like, wow, it's like suddenly you're like, wow, where'd all my armor go? And it's like, I'm an 85-ton mech. It's like gone. That hurt. And that's doing the same thing. You know, it's 10-point shots versus 20s, but still, it's a good, hard-hitting weapon system. So far, I don't mind the Bane 2 either. It's like, if you like to hit somebody really hard with some AC-10 Ultras, hey, you like it. Like it a lot. Now, the one that really I like a lot, let me tell you, if you ever got hit by this thing, you'll know it. This is the Bane 3, or the Kraken 3. The design changes the weapons configuration totally, removes them, and replaces them with 8, yes, you hear this correctly, 8 LRM-15s for fire support. You want to talk about the ultimate in fire support mech, this is a beast for you. It carries 16 tons of ammunition, so it can go a long period of time just throwing rounds downrange with missiles. And it also carries, this is one thing I just like, not sure why it does this, but it has a one-shot streak SRM4 for one shot. Me personally, I probably would say just give me a couple ER medium lasers and an ER small or something like that. And for some close weapon system, not that you really care, because clans can shoot you at point blank range in the face with their LRMs. So it's really just like, I'm just going to shoot at your direction type of weapon system. But personally, I'd rather have something that isn't totally dependent on ammunition, you know, for shooting down range. And it also carries 19 double heat sinks, so it's going to take care of the heat profile. So yeah, like you look at the heat profile of the LRM-15 is 5, and you got 19 heat sinks, so you can dissipate 38. So if you are looking at that, so 8 times 5 is 40. So it will have a, now if you like I said, if you park this thing, you could do that 2 turns, and then you're going to be thinking about, okay, fire an 8, 8, 7, 8, 8, 7 type of deal. Now that's kind of how it's going to work out pretty good. You know, so that isn't so bad. This is now this has a potential, it's not going to happen, but it has the potential to do what, 120 points of damage. The odds are you're probably going to be doing a lot of, probably around the 80 to 90 something range, most likely. So it's going to be the same type of damage potential as the Bane 2, but you have 8 times you're going to be rolling to hit versus your 4 times with the other one, and then have to roll again to see how many, if you get double pumping out. Even though it's like, I'm going to double pump the mech with all my cannons just to try to get those 8 hits, the odds are you got a good shot maybe to hit the first time, then you got a 50% chance of hitting with the second, you know. So now with the LRM, you hit, then you got to roll on the missile chart. You know, it's kind of the same concept, but at least you're going to do some good damage one way or the other. If you look at, you know, typically on the missile chart, yeah, you could probably go to, it's like 9s, maybe 12, 6, you know, you look at it, that kind of range, typically when it averages it out, if you hit with all 8. So it's going to hurt. They're going to hurt. Now, the Bane 4, this is a Jade Falcon little beast. Not really enamored with this one. It has twin AC-20 Ultra cannons with 6 tons of ammunition. So you're looking at something that, once again, the big old pigs. And so you're looking at 30 shots, and you got 2 weapon systems. So you're roughly looking at 7 turns, where 7 with an 8 with a minor shot, possibly, if you're still around by that time. But you got to get in close to use that thing. Now, while you're closing, you got the ATM 6s. There's 3 of them. So with 4 tons of ammunition, so it does have some options right there, and it does have an ER large laser for closing in. So while you're closing, you can use the ATM 6s and the large laser, and then once you get into the short range bracket where you can start hitting with the double pumping those AC-20s, hey, and then you're looking at, that's your primary weapon system and then the ATM 6s. I probably would shut off the ER, but it does have 17 double heat sinks to help out, so you can dissipate 34 heat, but the odds are you're not going to be using the large laser, because obviously you're trying to kick out as much, you're looking at 28 heat with just double pumping the AC-20s. And then you got the ATM 6s for backing up, and you're going to use those. So it's not really up to the task of, it's like you get in close, it's probably cranking away, and then you might heat up a little bit, depending on how you're going to use your weapons. Then there's the Kraken XR. And first, the Kraken XR has Indo Steel. Okay, so they did put Indo Steel on it. It has 16 double heat sinks, and then it carries 19 tons of reflective armor for protection, which it's kind of an experimental type thing. And it's a cross between the Bane 2 and the Bane 3. It has rotary AC-2s in each arm, and it has an LRM-10, streak LRM-10. So you're talking down the range, we're talking streak LRMs. And then a single large laser for the backup. And also has case for, ammunition. It's clan, so that's just a given. So, that's kind of one of those deals where they bring it up to speed, or, helping out with their second line mechs. Giving my druthers of what I probably would prefer, I would probably go with the Bane 3 and use that as a pretty much a paint stripper, because all those 5-point blocks and the extra damage that is going out, it'd be similar to hitting it with the prime version with all the AC-2 Ultras, but you're doing a lot more damage. So that is it. That's the Bane, aka the Kraken. I personally like the mech, and if you got the points to bring it in, it's a pretty interesting mech to play with. It's a second line mech, so if you're playing one of those scenarios or campaigns where you're crunching through the second lines, this is one of those mechs that you might think about picking one up and toss it into the mix and see how it works out in the meat grinder. Alright, that's everything. Hope you guys like it, and we'll see you in the next one. Hellcrix out.